enjoyed this week's episode, and please like this video, share with your friends and dock mates, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us get more viewers like you.
Hey y'all, guess what? We adopted new freshwater tanks. Here's one of them right there. Isn't it so pretty? Now, when you adopt new freshwater tanks, you want to make sure you give it a good, strong, loving, long-term home so it can rest and be comfortable and secure throughout its life. This is what we've been doing today. I got Dad Silva here with us. And so we bought marine grade 3/4 inch plywood, and we've been situating it down here. Based on the curvature of the hole, we've been nipping off little edges slowly but surely so that when the water tank sits down onto this and is full of 500 pounds of water is what we figure, plus, you know, maybe 500 pounds total, that the tank is pretty heavy itself too. So it's got to be nice and strong and secure and supported. So we've got this 3/4 inch marine grade ply. So now what we're doing is we're gonna be shimming it. So we want the plywood to be basically supported by these knees, I think they're called. This one's gonna be great because this little 1/2 inch piece of starboard here just fits under there perfectly. So we're just gonna cut one that's about 3.5 inches, and then that'll run from here all the way there. So that one's fine. But the one over here in the forward part, this one, it's not so easy. The shim doesn't fit under there very nice. It's very much of an odd shape for our shim. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna do craft time. So David had a great idea to use this modeling clay. So, I mean, 10 pounds was the cheapest, so that's what I went with. So we have 10 pounds of modeling clay. So what we're gonna do is kind of roll it into the general shape, and then we'll stick the clay under here, lay the board down, it squishes it, and then that'll give us the shape for the shim that we need. So, who knew? Arts and craft time aboard Yara. Welcome. All right, let's get to it. We'll show you how. All right, here's a better view of craft time. So there's our clay, and we're basically just setting it up to where it can run the span of one of these knees under that board. And then we'll lift the base more, lift this board, set it on the knee, and then it'll squish down the clay, and then we just take the clay out, and that gives us our profile for our shim. Sweet. And we're using wax paper to keep it from sticking to things. Okay, so we tore off some of our clay. We wrapped it in wax paper so it doesn't stick to anything, and now we've scooted it under where we want the shim to go. So I'm going to just stand on the board to squish it down.
Not so much here. Okay. You put right there, and another one right there.
So that's going to give us our shape. Pretty cool. Then we just drag them out, and then now we know how to cut our actual material for the shape. So we did take 2 of our arts and crafts. So we basically formed this as a round piece, did the length of where we want our shim, stuck it under the board, squished it down, and then we used these calipers, which if you didn't know, on this end of the caliper is a depth gauge. So we did a depth gauge and transferred that into our measurement. So the very outboard side, we have the furthest port, it's a 1/4 inch depth wedge, and then 5 inches in it's 3/8, 5 inches in it's 5/8, and then 5 inches in it's 11/16. So we just did that all along, and there's our probing holes right there, so you can kind of see how arts and crafts are done aboard sailboat yard. So here's what we've got. We are going to use HDPE plastic to support the tank here. Previously, it was these fine pieces of, I don't know, likely teak. And 40 years of being in a bilge, they are no worse than when they were new. I mean, there's a little bit of rust here where it was touching the hole and maybe something got down in there, but we switched to HDPE. So I have that just like tacked in place with a couple of screws. And notice below I wanted to leave a gap for moisture and debris and stuff to be able to roll downhill into the bilge instead of getting caught under it. The hole does bulge out. Well, not the hole, this bulkhead here. So that runs the whole length of the boat. And you can see that it does bulge out a little bit. And, you know, I was thinking, oh, you know, maybe it's just more fiberglass there. And so we had to cut our HDPE to notch it out so it kind of goes around this bulge. So then I started putting a screw in just to tack it in place, just a temporary like mock-up. Couldn't do it. My screw was like, just wouldn't go in. There's gotta be some metal in that that bulge. So I don't know what Scepter's doing, but apparently there's some metal plate here instead of solid fiberglass. So that was interesting. The other thing, you guys are gonna laugh. Look what I pulled out. A level on a boat? What? Are you kidding me? But yeah, I got this pretty level for the way the boat sits in the water right now. And then of course, this one back here did the same. Just got it tacked in place with a couple of temporary screws at hopefully the right height. And then I'll lay this board down, lay the tank down, and lay the floor on top of the tank and see if we're at the right height. All right, y'all. Let's see, 6 hours later, we've got the tank basically in place. I think I might need to do some final adjustments in that corner over there, maybe even cut a new support, but that's it. There it is, more or less. It's gonna stay there for the night because I am sick of, like, this is double 3/4 inch plywood. This thing, I don't know, it's probably like 60 pounds. This thing isn't heavy. That piece is 3/4 inch. In and out. It's been a lot of work and a lot of test fitting. You know how it goes. A lot. But what do we say? It's a yacht of love, and I'm here for it. It's satisfying to get us to this step. So a lot of work, but a yacht of love. Yeah. Well, thanks all for tuning in. Appreciate you. And yeah, if you thought this was helpful, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you have a question or even some advice, drop us a comment below. Thanks all. See you on the next one.